All right. Every time, it gets better and better. The music just coursing through my veins.
I know.
Still wish they had some sort of cool effect there when you got to 0. But
yeah, we're missing the pyro.
We are. Welcome to Star Wars on High. Thank you guys for stopping by. It is Thursday night live stream, the time where we get together and talk about all things Star Wars. Sometimes we have crazy breaking news like the Eclipse trailer last week. Other times it's more of a slow, reflective week like we kind of had this time. So we appreciate you guys making the time and showing up with us on Thursdays. As always, we'll do a quick intro. We'll pass it around the triangle to have everyone introduce them, say what's going on with their channel, what are they looking forward to this week. We'll start down below. Let's go to Star Wars Timeline. What's going on? How are you doing this week?
Hey guys, hi everyone. Thanks for watching. It always feels great to be down below. The only thing I'm kind of regret not having is a Din Djarin helmet, and I could say, this is the way, but I'm just stuck with the shirt.
Man,
Book of Boba Fett. It's kind of surreal, right? It's less than 2 weeks away. I can't wait for it. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. There's a lot of stuff to anticipate. I can't wait to hear what your guys' thoughts and anticipations are. It is the most thrilling time where we're on the verge of something Star Wars, but it's not yet here. It's so sweet, man.
It's been a while since we've had a big release like this, live action, it feels like. So I'm very excited.
Yeah. You sound excited.
Oh my gosh. I mean, guys, come on. We got the Boba Fett. It's hard to fit the whole word Boba Fett on my sleeve here. I'm ready to go. Look, I got to be honest with you guys. If I can make a channel completely dedicated to the amount of Star Wars merchandise I buy, I'm going to be honest with you. It's getting a little crazy, especially in the hoodie season. Hoodie season.
We noticed.
Hey, hoodie season's a great time. Star Wars Complete, over to you, my man. What's going on? How's your week been? What's on your radar as we're getting kicked off this Thursday?
I've had a pretty eventful week. I live roughly close to that really bad tornado that just came through, so I've been dealing with the fallout from that. But Star Wars wise, I finally finished Ronin. I'm going to be putting out a review on that hopefully the next couple of days. Very much looking forward to the Book of Boba Fett. Very excited for that. It's been a year since we had our last live action Star Wars anything, so definitely hyped for that. But I'm really hyped to start the final Thrawn Ascendancy book.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
I've definitely got to catch up. We've talked about it several times on the stream. We definitely, without a doubt, I have to catch up. And I think Timeline does too on the Thrawn Ascendancy. And we got to talk about it as a group because I'm like halfway through the first book. I really like it. I just have so many other things going on that it always seems to just get pushed on. So we'll look forward to your review coming out. As we're getting started here, guys, I did want to call out, we're approaching the end of the year. It has been an awesome year, to say the least. Something huge around the corner with Book of Boba Fett. We're going to talk a little bit about it tonight, but there's going to be more conversation to be had in the coming weeks. So make sure you guys are subscribed to all 3 of the channels, but showing up for the live streams. I think we're going to we might change it up a little bit, do some stuff special for Book of Boba Fett, with the launch there. So keep posted, stay tuned. We'll keep you guys informed. The other thing I wanted to call out is, on the channel this week, I kind of made my year 1 wrap up talking about, content that I would be making and changing going forward. And I did mention that I would be kind of changing my approach to controversial topics and how I handle those and how I deal with those. And I appreciate everyone's feedback there. And we are going to get right into kind of a controversial topic today, which is the Quantic Dream situation with Star Wars Eclipse. Now, let me lay the groundwork and recap. If you guys weren't here last week, if you guys haven't been paying attention to the channel, we go live on Thursdays, and the trailer dropped like 10 or 15 minutes before we went live. I'm scrambling to make a good thumbnail for it. We're trying to get everyone in to talk about it. And so we watched that trailer live with you guys here, had a great time doing it. And we're really excited. I know I speak for I think all of us, but especially myself, I can say I was extremely intrigued and excited by that trailer. Thought it was a really cool, interesting, unique looking take on Star Wars. And we were all completely hyped, completely ramped up. Go watch our reactions if you guys want. It was really, really fun time. And as the week settled on, and more videos came out, more content came out, what was brought to light for some people and might have been common knowledge for others was the studio behind the game, Quantic Dream, has been involved in some controversy over the last couple years, and really dampened some folks' excitement for the game. Now, I don't want to spend too much time fully recapping all alleged activities, all kind of controversies they've been involved with for a couple of reasons. Number one, I don't consider myself an expert. I've done research, and I'll be honest, I struggle a little bit because it seems like some of the original controversy was written by newspapers and journalists from France or who speak French. And so I'm having to like do some translating there. And it's I don't know if I'm totally getting the best reliable source secondhand, number one. And number two, that's not really the point of this video. I want to dissect whether these are, good things or bad things. I just want to talk about how we feel about the game now, a week later with these stories out. Has it changed our opinion? Will we support the game? Will we wait and see what changes occur? So that's really the goal to start this evening off. I hope you guys let us know your thoughts as we talk down below and also in the chat. We can, we love the opinion. We're going to keep it very civil. We're going to keep it very friendly. This is going to be just the three of us, speaking on something that's kind of come up in the community. So I've laid out the groundwork. I appreciate you guys being patient with me there. I want to start with Star Wars Complete tonight. I think, I've seen on Twitter, you've been kind of following the story a little bit. So maybe you have maybe a different perspective than I do. Where do you stand on Star Wars Eclipse now? Has the news changed your excitement? Are you going to support the game? Are you going to wait and see what comes next? Where are you today? I just would love to hear where you're at.
Gotcha. So I'll try to keep it short a little bit. I don't want to go on too much of a tirade about it, but when we watched the trailer, I was hyped for it. I've been waiting for a new Star Wars game. These things were rumored forever, especially one being in the High Republic setting. That's what we were all been waiting for. So it happened. I was pumped for it. We were all there. It was a good time. All this news comes out, stuff that I did not previously know, and I went and I looked into it. Yes, a lot of it is, alleged stuff that had happened, and a lot of stuff was dismissed into some court cases. But there's still a lot of unknowns out there and a lot of confirmed stuff that still doesn't sit well with me. So I did make a tweet about that. Everyone was using the hashtag Blackout Star Wars Eclipse, and I personally agree with it because for a couple of reasons. One, it's just some of the stuff that was said is not okay and shouldn't be said. And for Lucasfilm to partner with a game company that wants to say those things and they're getting away with it, it just doesn't sit well with me. Star Wars is supposed to be inclusive of everybody, and especially in something that is the High Republic that has been made so inclusive of all different aspects of life. And you're going to go with a game studio that is trying to ignore that. It doesn't sit well with me, and I can't in good conscience support that game, which sucks. I was really much looking forward to it. And it's disappointing, but that's just how I'm going to stand on it.
Okay, Ben. Quick thoughts from you, and I will dive in with some more filler context in the meantime. But let's give us your thoughts.
No, I think I totally respect what you're saying. Complete. I'm pretty sure you express the sentiment of a lot of fans. The first and foremost, I just want to say that it's unfair and inconsiderate to kind of like play down this controversy, like, it's just another type of fans, and they're just being reactionary and just screaming out loud because they want something to complain about. Because if real parties were involved, especially the people that work at Quantic Dream, right, we don't want to kind of like downplay and say like, nothing serious is really happening, because it's unfair to them. Because me coming from an animation background, I know that they work grueling hours. Crazy demands are asked of them to deliver a final product on time, and these guys go sacrifice so much, and they actually write it in all these magazines and art books that you buy, where creators talk about how they sacrifice their family time to deliver these products. And I think they should be all treated fairly and stuff. On the flip side of that, why this particular controversy didn't touch me in a way that I would stop supporting the company's game is because precisely the people who work there. Look, if there's one individual or group of individual on the executive board who said a couple of things which are offensive, which should not be in the community or any, kind of like community for that reason, they don't express the views of everyone. And I think it's unfair for everybody who put their blood and sweat and tears into this product to say like, well, you know what, I'm going to boycott this product because so-and-so said this and that, I think it's important to acknowledge it. It's important for us to talk about it. But at the same time, I do feel that to some extent, it's a part of modern culture where when things go crazy and things go negative, people like to fuel the fire. people don't like to fixate and focus on something as positive and good and like, hey, we're all fans, we celebrate. I mean, the testament to that is Star Wars groups on Facebook. Any place that you go to, people thrive on controversy and negative feedback and bickering with one another. My only reaction to this is like, let's learn from it. Let's see what's what. Really make a cool judgment of it, and not be hot-headed about it. Not listen to hearsay, but focus on cold facts, and say let's support the content creators and address what the people behind the words that they said are, and take according action to kind of like punish them in that way.
And now that we've kind of had the initial thoughts, I'll maybe paint with broad strokes what the controversies were. And again, I might be missing some of the key details. There were a couple different ones, right? So there were one around like working conditions for the company. Seemed to be, it was maybe a more toxic or hostile work zone for a number of folks. Based on the leadership, there was it seemed to be really no sort of I'm trying to think of a word, office appropriate conversations. It seems like a lot of them felt comfortable sharing, maybe inappropriate memes and things like that. Was one controversy where fans felt like their teams weren't being managed or treated fairly or safely. And then there was comments made by, I think it was the founder, the CEO, or someone, and again, some of them were translated, and I'm not going to repeat them here on the channel, but some of them, just being downright rude, mean, inappropriate in a lot of ways. I won't go into too much more detail just because, A, I'm not going to repeat them. B, it won't.
Hey, Google exists. I'm pretty sure.
Exactly. Yeah, it won't do good. So you can find yourself. Yeah. I do sometimes. Some of them I've never been able to find. Like some of the things the founder is quoted as saying, I'm like trying to understand where he was when he said, like, what was he doing? Like, what? How? Like, how did this get on record? Like, what were you doing? Anyway,
yeah, because
those were kind of at a high level, the controversies. And, knowing that we don't have the full answer, we don't know everything that happened. I will kind of align, like both of you said, with various things you both said. I, for one, definitely can appreciate when you work at a company, you can have supervisors or people you work for that you don't agree with or don't get along with. And some you love, right? And team members you love, right? That's just part of work, right? We all have teammates that we work better with, or teammates who are rude to us in the past, or whatever that might be. So I definitely empathize with the employees who are there, who are good employees, who are, like you guys said, very passionate, game developers. And like, this is their dream project. Number one, they get to work on Star Wars, which they've always loved. Number two, they get to pay the bills. So they're probably really excited about this opportunity. So, there's those people that I love to support and feel for, right? Because, I don't even know if this is the same studio. I don't know what kind of connection they have to the CEO to this day. Is he just does he just own majority stock in the company, or is he actively taking part in anything? But I also understand that it is really tough when a lot of game company culture seems to have these sort of things come up with terrible work environments and inappropriate management styles, like we've kind of seen at Blizzard this year. And it seems like nothing really happens. So I understand too the urge to be like, hey, we got to make a stand here because none of this ever improves. And so how do we expect the industry to improve if we don't kind of stand on our beliefs and speak out against these games or not support these games? And at the end of the day, I think it's the good news for all of us is this game is probably, I'm going to be honest with you, 2 to 3 years away from being done. All right. Which means we'll have a lot more opportunity to either find out what really happens at Quantic Dream, or individuals who are doing these things can be removed, disciplined, etc. Right? Those are two things we can hope for in the next 2 to 3 years. That might shift folks' opinions. Because, at the end of the day, these sorts of reactions by the community can have two different effects. They can either galvanize change within the companies, or they can cause the whole kind of infrastructure in studios to crumble. And we have time to see where this goes. I want to say as well, it is very tough because a lot of these are alleged, right? So we don't have recording. If it was an audio recording or like the Blizzard stuff, like we have chat logs, we got stuff we can look at. And so as more of that comes out of the next couple of years, I think the story will fill in for itself what the truth is. And so I'm going to wait and see. I'll continue to follow it. I think this game is years away, though. I really do. I think it might be a while before we ever hear or see another thing about this game. I will be very curious to see if Lucasfilm comes out and addresses this. Lucasfilm's games. I don't know what sort of role Quantic Dream fully is playing with Lucasfilm, what their partnership is, what their deal looks like. So time will tell. It is a bummer, though. I will say this. I will kind of summarize my feelings and maybe this topic with, I'm sad this happened because I think this was such a very exciting thing for so many of us. And again, maybe some of it's not true. Maybe some of the disciplinary action's been taken. Maybe things are getting better and we'll all feel good about this in a year or so. But for now, it's like, seriously, we had a really good announcement, a really good story, and this sort of real controversy drops. To Timeline's point, there's sometimes we make mountains out of molehills where, the game trailer in 2 minutes in, some guy had a purple foot, and then there's a 6-hour conversation about that. That's not what this is. This is this is real concern for individuals with bad working conditions and inappropriate conduct by senior leadership that none of us think should be taken lightly. As folks who have all worked jobs, at the very least, at the most basic level here, we want the people, the companies we go support to treat their employees with respect at the very least. And that's not getting into the other issues. So I think that kind of sums up my thoughts. It's a bummer because I think there's a lot to be excited by from that original cinematic. But we'll have to just wait and see what goes on. One other thing I want to talk about, and I'll pass it around here, is I saw some controversy this week about the High Republic. Authors didn't really say anything about this book. They didn't comment, about this show. They didn't really comment on it. They didn't say anything about the cinematic. I kind of took that as the High Republic is going to have a lot of different teams working on it throughout the next X years. And so it's going to change. The teams aren't probably all going to be working together. I don't know. What does this spell for you guys for the future of the High Republic? Will you see, collaboration between the High Republic authors on future shows, future games, etc.? Or do you think they're going to kind of silo those teams whenever we do get more content? I don't know. Let's start with you, Timeline. What do you think?
It's could be a number of things and collaborations, and I honestly could see how authors like Claudia Gray or Kevin Scott jumping from project to project as is required, and honestly, where their professional careers lead them to, I can't even begin to predict how that is going to play out. I'm definitely looking more to High Republic content in regards to games, in regard to this Quantic Dream game, and including all the books. I've been more than happy all these years since 2015, as somebody who's a huge admirer of Star Wars Legends, to be a little bit on the hesitant side with that new announcement, because it spelled out change for a lot of us who read these books for 20 plus years, like myself. And I was more than happy with each iteration, with each new announcement, each book that released, whether it's the Clone era period or the Thrawn books or the High Republic era. It's all been nothing but great content. And my only words that I would express to everybody who's creating this thing is just thank you so much, and just keep pushing forward. Keep listening to feedback, keep looking at what fans like, but be bold and don't play into what fans want or what expectations of Star Wars are. Constantly push new frontier and break new ground. That's the only thing I want from High Republic.
And I'm before we pass it over to Complete, I just want to share with everyone on StarWars.com today. They announced in their news section they're going to have a special 1-year anniversary High Republic show on January 4th when the launch of the book comes, and it's going to include new announcements, new projects we don't know. So we will skim through this article, but that's what I'm sharing over here. Complete, I don't know. What are your thoughts on the High Republic? Is it going to any future projects? Do you think the authors should be involved, or do you think it's okay if separate teams pick it up and kind of tell their own story in the era?
I actually thought it was pretty interesting because I had the conversation with my roommate. I was like, what if for each phase of the High Republic, out of the 3 big phases, they got a new set of authors for each phase. And he said, I don't think they'd go as far as to completely get rid of all of the authors and get new ones. I could see them adding maybe 1 or 2 new ones as they keep going. So if it was something like that, I'd be cool with it. as far as other people coming in and making new stories with the characters already created from the High Republic that are not from the Project Luminous group that started, I mean, that stuff kind of happens all the time. And Timothy Zahn even had a really great quote about that when he was talking about someone asked, is it hard when you write for other people's characters? And he says, it's always hard. And it's always kind of a big respect thing that has to go around, because I created Thrawn and I really like writing him, but when someone else uses him, I can't tell them no. But because at the same time, I'm doing the same thing. I'm going into someone's toy box and playing with their toys. Yeah. So, and I do believe that the High Republic is outlined from beginning to end. Maybe not all of the details are there, but enough of the groundwork is there to know it's going to go from point A to point B to point C. So if a new group wanted to come in to make either a show or a game or another book, even a comic that doesn't directly involve any of the authors, I think it's okay because you already have the groundwork and the outline of what these characters are and what they stand for and where they're going to be going in the future.
Yeah. This group of writers was tagged, I think a couple years before the actual first launch of The Light of the Jedi. And so I anticipate they will be, Charles Soule, Kevin Scott, Justina Ireland, Daniel Jose Older, and Gray. Why am I breaking on her first name?
Claudia Gray.
Thank you. Claudia Gray will all be involved in some capacity going forward. Will they keep the same sort of will they limit it to only those authors? That remains to be seen. I will tell you guys, as we've seen with Eclipse, we will continue to see there are going to be more projects in the High Republic era. I am even more confident about that today than I was months back. We're going to see more stories, so more people are going to come into this era. Now let's talk about the first news story of the night, which is celebrate 1 year of Star Wars High Republic with the anniversary special. So it'll have interviews with the 5-story architects who we just listed out and the first details on phase 2. So what's going to be really fun there is we are going to get, on January 4th, when the Fallen Star launches, we're going to get a special show. They're going to get us hyped for the next phase as well. I love the fact that they continue to give us these High Republic shows, give us these announcement things, like continue to give the community support. I think that's a really great thing the creatives behind the High Republic have done. So kudos to them. It's going to launch January 4th at 10 a.m. Pacific. So that is going to be a little bit, noon for me.
Yep.
So that will be really fun to see. Maybe we can do a stream then, watch it together, guys. We'll see what's going on. What the future holds. That's weeks away. Who knows? We might not even be here anymore by the time that gets here.
I most certainly hope we are.
I certainly hope so. Let me ask you guys this before you give me your thoughts on the 1 year special. Have you guys ordered the out of print Fallen Star? I'm just curious if you guys are going to pick it up.
Oh yeah, I did.
You caved, huh?
Oh yeah. The artwork is good. It's good quality. And I had forgot to mention it when I was talking about it last week. They are signed copies.
That's a nice good point. Yeah, that's a good
Interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't know
that was a huge point that I completely just blanked on last week. But yeah, they're signed copies. They got great artwork, and it's only $50. Plus, you get a pretty great hat this time around. Am I right? Come on, it's getting cold out. We're gonna want that.
That is true.
It's definitely a nerd hat, man, for sure.
Absolutely. And I'm not worried about it arriving on the release date. I know
Audible.
Yeah, like I'm in a Star Wars book club page on Facebook, and everyone always asks, like, what's the best place to pre-order from if I want to get it to my door, like on release day. I've had zero luck with anything showing up the day of release, so like I'm not too pressed about it. I just think for $50, you get a nice book, nice cover, it's autographed, you get a little extra something with it. I think that's fair for $50.
Yeah, I think for $50, it's a pretty nice ask, and if unless you live in like a huge metropolis like New York City, like I do, I usually order from either Barnes & Nobles or Amazon. I get deliveries on point on the date off. It's very rare for me to get something shipped the next day. And even then, you feel like super spoiled. But yeah, I think it's no rush. The only reason I didn't pick it up, I love the heck out of this artwork. Josh, when you showed it to me the first time before we launched one of our live streams, I looked at it. I was like, oh, I can't believe it. Is it fan made? Who the hell produced this? And then you see it obviously on the official website and everybody starts talking about it. The only thing that makes me stay away from this wonderful, wonderful release is I'm missing that High Republic logo and the book title on the front. Something about it just irks me the wrong way. And another aspect of it is I'm a very practical collector. I am a collector. I enjoy collecting Star Wars stuff, but everything that I collect, I put to use. Like all of my books, I actually pick them up. I wanted to mention this a little bit later, but I pick it up and I take it off the shelf and I read it, right?
Yeah.
Same with video games. I don't get special editions of Star Wars video games. I only get the regular ones because as long as I got my physical copy, as long as I got what everyone else got, I consider myself a part of that culture, part of that movement, part of that flow. That's enough for me. I don't need to get like an extra one with a golden signature by like Justinia Ireland or like Claudia Gray with Kevin Scott personally delivering it to my door.
Yeah. But if they're offering, we will absolutely accept that service.
Yeah, of course.
I will continue to, I think I will probably pick up The Fallen Star. So you guys know, my fans know I'm an Audible kind of guy. I love the audiobooks. They've become kind of synonymous with me in the High Republic for the simple fact that, the narration, the voices he does, like those are now part of the High Republic to me. So like when I read a High Republic book, it's going to be an Audible book. And so the books to me are purely for collecting purposes. Like you can see the kind of gold sticking in the corner of my screen here. Those are all of the, phase 1 stories that I've picked up. And so, I will continue to do that. It is, I am very excited. And to this comment point here, Claudia Gray is the queen of Star Wars authors. I thought her novel in Wave 1, Into the Dark, was one of, I think, the most underrated of the books so far. That one really worked for me. And not it didn't seem to get the same hype that I thought. I thought it was like literally maybe the best book of the first wave, or the most underrated book. So the fact that she's now getting like the premier adult novel, like I have very high expectations for this book. Maybe the highest I've had so far, because when I went into Light of the Jedi, I went in blind. And so anything I got, I had never read a Star Wars book until Light of the Jedi. You know what I mean? I had literally not read a Star Wars book. I'd only watched the shows and the movies. So I had never read a Star Wars book until I got Light of the Jedi. So I didn't really even know what to expect. And so that one, obviously I enjoyed it because we're here today. But this one, it's the first time so far my expectations are high, because I really think Claudia Gray can do a great job. And I love the way they've set this up with the artwork. The premiere show on the 4th is going to be really excited. I hope everyone gets as excited as I am. This is really cool. January and December are going to be amazing, guys, for Star Wars. They really are.
Can I ask you guys a quick question? It's just irked me. Like, I just finished my first Star Wars audiobook review, which I don't do a lot of, right? You guys know I mostly read my physical books. Doesn't it irk you when you say you read audiobooks? Because somebody, I take an issue with it, bro. Like, you're listening to it. I do. You're not reading it. It's like, please distinguish. Like, I'd like to make that clear distinction. It takes effort to read, but it also takes effort to listen. But they're two different experiences.
To me, as someone, and I've told my story a million times, you guys all know it. I drive to and from work every day. I have I probably spend about an hour in a car a day, which is not even long compared to some places in the country. And it's not long to be, it's like 30 minutes both ways, which is nothing. But that's an hour at least of book listening I get a day that I wouldn't have time to do if I was trying to read. And the multitasking factor to me is amazing. Being able to wash my car, mow whatever, and just like listen to the book. It's such a game changer for me. So, I like, I can't support it enough. So that's what's coming forward in the High Republic, guys. Get ready, buckle up, catch up now. I don't know. Let me ask you this before we switch off the High Republic. This will be a good question for you guys. I know Timeline's position on this, I think, but Complete, we'll start with you. Are you the kind of fan who, like, you speed read it? The book comes out, you're like, okay, I got to read The Fallen Star as fast as I can because I don't want to get anything spoiled. Or do you like to savor it, take your time? Where do you fall? Are you like the binger, or are you the more refined, slow reader?
Definitely both, but also neither. So when I try to binge through when I try to binge through books when they come out, it's not to avoid spoilers, because like I don't get spoilers for books. Like I may have gotten one, but it's mainly because I want to finish this book so I can put out a review on it, because I'm really trying to get caught up on canon because I want to do a lot of Legends reviews. I can't do audiobooks because I can read slightly faster than the audio. I know you can speed up the audio, but
like 2 speed, baby.
Sped up audio just sounds odd.
Yeah, it does.
And I can't, if I'm listening to something, I can't mindlessly do a task. I'll get distracted and I'll be like, wait, what did they say? So I try to read quickly, but there are times where, like, if I'm in a really good part of a book, I slow down and I really want to take it all in so I can get the full image in my head. I'm just trying to play catch up right now. Like, it took me 2 months to read Ronin because it was just it was a rough book to get through. So it's mainly just I want to improve my reading skills by trying to read faster. So I think that's where my stand is on that.
This is important, not Star Wars related, but Gia Fett is calling out the best fantasy book you guys can pick up. The Way of Kings is fire. All right, it is straight fire. And it is 44 hours long, and it's the shortest in the series. So if you can't get through that, you better buckle up. But I cannot recommend the Stormlight Archives enough. It is my favorite fantasy series of definitely of recent release. Nice. Book 4 just finished. Book 5 will be in probably a year and a half from now. So, hey, you got like a year and a half to read them all to catch up before the 5th book comes out. It is an amazing, amazing series. Star Wars channel, I know, but huge Stormlight Archives fan. Huge Stormlight Archives fan. Okay.
Nice.
Now back to what this channel is all about. See, I don't know if the people at home can see this fully. You definitely can't, but we have Boba Fett literally imprinted into my hoodie, right? This is my boy. And we had some news come out today about the book Boba Fett, which confirmed exactly what I said on this channel. You guys have seen me say this time and time again. So from Robert Rodriguez, this is his quote that came out in the Hollywood Reporter today. It says, the book of Boba Fett trailers, we only used footage from the first half of the first episode. We can't use the second half of the first episode because it gives so much away. So I've been saying that. You guys have heard me say it. I'm like, I'm pretty sure everything we see is like from the first like episode. Like, it doesn't seem like they've shown us anything new, any new locations. They've just shown like the same palace, the same shot of him putting his helmet on, some shots of Jabba's palace, a couple dinner tables, the Ithorian, like that's it. And this hard confirms it from the man himself that we have barely seen anything about the show, which is amazing to me. We are like less than 2 weeks away at this point. We're like 13 days away and we barely know anything about it. And that is how it should be. It's only 7 episodes. Don't spoil too much. What are your guys' thoughts here? First of all, how right have I been? But second of all, what do you guys think? Is this what you suspected as well? Where are you guys at? Let's start with timeline. Where are you at?
Honestly, looking at the trailer and all like the locations and color palettes, like the city and then the streets that Boba works through, and then all of these like attackers with those, energy shields and stuff like this, you kind of piece it together that it's somewhere in the beginning, but the fact that it's all from one episode is pretty cool. I mean, looking at the article itself, obviously they're trying to sell it. Obviously they're trying to get fans excited. Like, hey guys, you haven't seen anything yet. That's a good approach. I like that. I'm still keeping my expectations like here and not try to reach too much into the footage, right? That's why I haven't looked at it over a million times. I'm just, okay, this is what was on the screen. I'm expecting anything from word for word, like repeat the same threads from The Mandalorian and Din Djarin's adventure to something like deep fake Han Solo. Like anything is possible in this show, right? So why guess? Just like wait for it. It's almost here. It's less than 2 weeks away. Just put that first episode on and enjoy.
Yep. Could not agree more, except for my hype is to the roof, baby. I'm expecting the masterpiece. Let's go. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Star Wars complete. Yeah. Well, hey, we will talk about expectations here in the future for the show. Yeah. We're trying to wait till we get a little bit closer. We were talking to the guys before the stream. We're going to do some sort of either watch party or preview show or follow-up review. We're going to do something together when the show launches so we can give you guys our thoughts as a team here. And of course, individually on their channels. Complete, over to you. I mean, is this what lined up? Of course, it is promotional, like Timeline said, but just from the trailers we've seen, I feel like they barely showed us anything.
Oh yeah, the trailers, the very first teaser that we got, the first thing I said after it ended, I was like, that is the perfect textbook definition of a teaser. It gave me absolutely nothing. So for now, Robert Rodriguez to say it's only from the first half of the first episode, I'm not surprised by that, but I am still impressed by that because it's a smart move to make, and even like we had trailers for The Mandalorian season 2 that showed us clips from like the first 6 episodes, and like we didn't even realize it because I remember the farther we got into it, I'm like, well, there's still this one scene from the trailer that we still haven't seen yet, so I'm still waiting on that episode before we get into brand new territory. So I think that was smart. And I mean, like, I don't know how long these episodes are going to be. I'm just going to go off the chance that this episode could be anywhere between 40 and 60 minutes. So the first half of it all together, if I spliced every trailer and TV spot that's come out, we maybe have seen 8 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I am here for the hype.
It's a shorter show, so I think it's more important that they don't reveal too much. It's only the 7 episodes.
The episode length has not been detailed yet,
but
right?
quantity of episodes, I think, is only 7 at this point. So I see a comment here that I think Timeline will agree with. So I want Timeline to address it. It says, I like Boba Fett, but I hope the show isn't just a shallow action piece. My favorite Star Wars is the more deep philosophical stories like Matthew Stover's books. And I'm sure you align their Timeline.
I love Matthew Stover. I love his writing style. I love the deeply laid. He's basically, Claudia Gray is of the new era of Star Wars authors who represents that school of thought from Matthew Stover. Look, you can have your expectations. You can have like a whole list of wants from the show. But realistically speaking, Mandalorian is a success regardless how I feel about it. I agree with you. I like my Star Wars to be a little bit more, not necessarily deeper or more complex, nuanced. Like you could have a simple scene like, hi, you and I, we've discussed the Dune movie, right, when it was released. And it wasn't about, it's not a highly complicated or deeply philosophical film. It's a simple picture, but there's nuance in every scene behind each character's action and so forth. While you may want that as a prerequisite for the Book of Boba Fett, realistically speaking, it's like, go for what you already seen, right? The Mandalorian is basically a distant cousin of this show, which is basically showing Mandalorians in their full glory, going out there kicking ass. That's what it's all about. Simple fun. And I think a lot of fans, on the heels of very, very divisive, sequel trilogy, they kind of were able to breathe out and enjoy The Mandalorian because it was returned to basics, because it was just like, hey, it's on the surface. What you get, what you see is what you get. And there's nothing necessarily bad about it. It's just see cool visuals, tons of action, and just basic actors running around doing things. Because honestly, if we start breaking things down, Din Djarin does not really classify as a character because he's not. He's just there on screen. He whips out a gun. They give him enough story threads to show you what his motivations are throughout the show. And he just goes out there and he executes. There's no any pretense with any kind of like layered filmmaking or nuance behind the shots. It's just all on the surface. And whether it's a good or bad thing, it's up to the viewers to decide.
Mm.
That's kind of an interesting about Book of Boba Fett we'll get that Mandalorian does not provide, which is an actual hero with a face. And that matters, right? I mean, and it suits the Mandalorian. It suits Din Djarin that he is this faceless, character. But this might be a different experience where we have an actual mask on and off constantly kind of hero now. Hero.
Yeah.
It'll be a different flair for sure. Speaking of Star Wars, simple storytelling versus nuanced storytelling, I did want to call out for the team. Today is the anniversary of Rogue One. It is the 5-year anniversary now since this film dropped. A film that I have talked about a little bit, in my what was it? It was a tier list. We did a tier list test to rank the Star Wars movies. Timeline and I did, and I had Rogue One actually relatively high, and I think a big part of that was my expectation for the movie was really like, I didn't really care. I was like, okay, like I know how that story ends. But when I actually saw the film, was so impressed with the kind of grittiness to it, the kind of, it feels like Star Wars, but different, really came through for me. And I thought the characters were well acted and performed. There's some really great shots from a cinematography perspective. Ended up becoming, I think, one of the better, I put it in the higher tier of Star Wars movies. It's really watchable movie. It sounds silly to say, but it's very watchable. So Rogue One 5-year anniversary. Can't believe it's been that long. Complete. I haven't heard your thoughts really on Rogue One. Where do you feel about this film? How does it stack up to you against the others? Let's reflect on 5 years.
This is just a truly fantastic movie. I was in line to see this movie, I think, like 2 hours before it started. And I was lucky I got there 2 hours early because I got the last spot in the theater before I was outside in the middle of December. So it was pretty cold. Because when I went to see Force Awakens, I was out the door and around the corner.
Oh yeah.
So,
what did you think of the trailer when you first saw it? Was it the kind of case of the movie that I didn't ask for, but like was blown away by the trailer, or the other way around?
So actually, I remember when the title was announced, I was actually really excited for it. I was like, "Ooh, Rogue One, what's this going to be about?" I was like, because I love Rogue Squadron, the game growing up. So I was like, "Oh, is this going to be something like that?" And then they said, it's about the group that stole the plans for the Death Star. And I was like, "Okay, that could be cool. Why not? I'm here for it." I didn't think anything of it. And then I remember seeing when it leaked, there was a small teaser that they showed at Comic-Con. It was never publicly released, but someone recorded it and put it out. And it's just a TIE fighter flying over a forest, and it pans up, you see the Death Star. And then the title Rogue One appeared on the screen. You just heard screaming and gunfire. And I was like, that actually kind of freaked me out a little bit. I'm like, what's going on here? Like this could get dark. And sure enough, it got pretty dark, but I loved it. Like I always thought it was a great way to tell a tie-in story to Star Wars while still being a major motion picture. So I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Kudos to Rogue One. One of, I think, the least controversial Star Wars movies. I'd say this is the least controversial Star Wars movie since Return of the Jedi.
I hear a lot of commentary because I talk to a lot of fans on the Facebook groups, and there's a lot of people who seem to share my sentiment. Obviously, the people have to take it for a spin and completely dismantle and break it down because that's what Star Wars fans love doing.
Yeah.
But for me, when I talk to fans, I said, look, I'll be the first guy to defend the movie in regards to saying that it was a fully entertaining film to watch. And it was just a shy out of being a true classic. And one for me, unfortunately for me, the biggest component that was missing is any kind of emotional reaction to anything that went on screen. And I addressed it because I always said, look, Gareth Edwards is a guy who has his heart set on the right things. He's an intelligent person. He writes intelligent scripts, but he's a TV commercial maker. He's not a storyteller. When you look stuff happening on the screen, intellectually, all of it makes sense. It's sound. It rhymes from the beginning to end, right? All these rebels taking from the beginning of the film to the end, it makes perfect sense. And the action is just so exhilarating and fun. And the music, everything is there. Everything but that one component, which I can't dismiss because to me, that's all what filmmaking is all about. If you walk away from something after eating a popcorn and cheering all the action and you don't remember who these characters are, it's like, what's the point then? But at the same time, you can't say that the film is something that was a wasted opportunity.
Well, and
it wasn't.
And I think that kind of sums it up is I don't know if anyone says it's the perfect movie, but I don't think anyone's has that many hot takes about it. Even people who don't like it don't seem to be as passionate as people who didn't like the prequels or the sequels. It seems to be most people are like, yeah, Rogue One. Either you thought it was a good time or you thought it was whatever. Very uncontroversial.
I mean, I heard some very controversial, very passionate, explicit stuff being heard. I was like, really? Oh my God.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised.
I think I just love the sediment that it set when it came out, because even now, a lot of the books that have come out have small references to the events of Rogue One sometimes. And I think that's fantastic, especially in Alphabet Squadron. One of the lead characters in the novel was able to meet Jyn Erso when she was calling herself Lyanna Halleck. And I can't remember the exact line, but in the book, Lyanna said something to the character that always stuck with her. So she always saw Jyn Erso as an idol. She was able to bring down the Death Star by getting those plans. And that's her driving force for fighting for the New Republic. And I'm just like, that's just incredible. And I love that specifically because watching this movie, it was really upsetting because I dive so far into Star Wars. I'm like, I see this is a historical event. This actually happened. So I'm just thinking about it. We see the celebration at the end of Return of the Jedi. I'm like, and no one is thinking of the fact that we got here because this small group of people gave their lives to free the galaxy. And I'm just like, I think about it so on such a deep level. I'm just like, I'm getting existential over it. And I just love that you can see that and it carries on even in the books.
And it gave us one of many great hallway scenes in Star Wars. We have so many good hallway scenes.
I remember that scene started where they all started like kneeling and aiming their guns. My friend Brian leans over and goes, "Is this the opening of the first movie?"
It is.
And I saw the dark hallway and I was like, and I heard Darth Vader said, "No, no, it's not. No, it's not." And then began to panic.
Yeah, it is. You know, again, precedent.
Glorious.
A lot of good hallway scenes in Star Wars, from Maul to Vader to Luke and more. Who will have the next hallway scene? That is the real question.
That's the question.
We know the hallways at the Starlight Beacon will not be standing for much longer. So
I don't want to talk about it.
Wonder there. So, well, happy 5-year anniversary, 5-year birthday to Rogue One. Well, those were the main stories of this week. A little bit of a slower week as we kind of prep forward to the upcoming launch of Book of Boba Fett and the High Republic next wave. Let me ask you guys, what story? Oh, one just hit me. There was a new comic released.
Yes.
There was a new comic announced this week. This is
Who's
this
this
kind
guy?
of interesting. Okay.
I can't see the logo. Who's
So it's going to be a Han Solo and Chewbacca comic that takes place after Solo and goes into A New Hope. Now, obviously, this seems to indicate that we are not going to get Solo 2, which disappointed a lot of people. We'll see. It doesn't prove it for certain, but the cover art.
I don't read it this way at all.
Okay.
I mean, we'll talk, but
I set the premise up here. It's coming out in March of 2022. Here is the cover: Han Solo and Chewbacca. Let's start with, are you going to read it? Number one, and then thoughts from what we know so far. Timeline, let's start with you.
I'm definitely going to read it. I mean, there's so much precedent for like Dark Horse era books where, hey, let's give you like this 4-issue miniseries on this character. And it was no way an indicator or a signal saying like, hey, we're going to cut some other project over here, but we'll give you something to placate the fans over here with a comic. Not at all. I don't think that, the conversation of Solo 2 is out of the question. But I saw this. And there was already one short miniseries that came out that I really enjoyed with Han Solo. And I'm looking at this, and you see that Jabba the Hutt palace, right, on the bottom side of the artwork. I'm like, this is intriguing. What time period is this? Before Return of the Jedi? After Return of the Jedi? That's kind of cool. And who is this Johnny Cash-looking guy who's trying to stand for Han Solo? I mean, we talked briefly about before launching this live stream. It looks like the artist was trying to catch a little bit of Harrison Ford's likeness, but then went a little bit with his own interpretation. Look, I am perfectly fine with an artist doing and completely interpreting the character in their own way. It's almost like DC and Marvel books where, a revered character like Batman or Superman or Wolverine travels from hands to hands, from writer and artist to artist throughout generations. And they all want to put their own language into it and their own style and interpret the character in a different way. This could be it. And it looks fun. I'm interested.
Complete? Where are you at?
First things first. That cover is incredible. This was painted on a canvas and they made it into a comic cover, and it's truly wonderful. I do agree. Han Solo's likeness, the Harrison Ford likeness, is a little off. I see Harrison Ford's face, but I see Alden Ehrenreich's hair. So I can see the transition they're trying to do there, and I'm cool with that. I think this is something I'm definitely interested in. This looks like it's going to be a really cool story, probably for me because of the artwork. And I think it's because it just draws on a lot of the old Legends covers because they're all painted. And that's why I'm not really bashing the likeness as much, because there are some interesting covers for the Legends books where some of the likeness has just missed it by a little bit. So I'm not too pressed about that. But I definitely think nostalgia is going to keep that cover going. I am very much looking forward to this because I loved Solo. I thought it was a very fun movie. Disappointed that we're not going to get a Solo 2. It could happen. We don't know. But for now, I will take this.
So I will say, here's one of the variant covers, which I also think is really cool.
That one looks cool too. That looks nice. I didn't see this one.
Yeah, this is one of the variant covers that they announced.
Can you guys picture that? Can you frame it within like a Johnny Cash album and just give him a guitar instead of like a blaster?
Yeah, I can see that.
That could work, right?
So
that, like vintage look, like Art Deco style almost.
Yeah, we had someone in chat ask who was writing it, and it looks like on the official reveal article it says Han Solo and Chewbacca, a new series from Marvel, will launch in March 2022. written by Mark Guggenheim and penciled by David Messina. I am not familiar with.
Wait. Hold on. Let me Google this real quick.
I
David.
shall wait patiently.
So this is what we know so far. It will come out in this very soon approaching year. They show a couple of variant covers. This is kind of the first one we see this kind of variant cover with more of a kind of new age look.
That's cool.
I like this one a lot. I think it's the coolest cover with the Jabba and Greedo down there. And then we see this is very comic booky though.
That's a very comic book.
So
I think it's cool because I know the plot's supposed to revolve around them teaming up with Greedo. So we finally get to see what the problem with those two is.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Oh, interesting. They actually teamed up.
Well, we'll find out. In March of 2022.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
go ahead.
David Messina actually seems like he doesn't have a lot of comic books behind his belt, but he does have some Star Trek credits.
Okay.
Old Friends, The Curse, erotic comic. What? The X Factor.
I do not know who.
He did some adult comics too. Okay, interesting.
Well, I mean,
that's an experience.
Hey, he's the artist. If he can do it, go for it.
Yeah, go for it, man.
What I can see if I Google a Mark Guggenheim, he literally appears to be a screenwriter. And in fact, let's see here. Let's see. Do we get any?
I mean, what if this comic book picks up so much popularity because they're not saying whether it's going to be limited or ongoing series? What if it picks up readership and they could reconsider making part 2? It's like, hey, the fandom is there again. They're going to support this movie.
What happens, I think, so here is the trouble. This is why we're all such big fans of the High Republic in different eras. When you are telling stories in the original trilogy era, or you're telling stories in sequel trilogy, prequel era, you are limited by events. Things happened you cannot change. So, I feel like you are very limited in the stories you can tell, because what can happen is they will tell stories that fans will feel like retcon other things, or they add things to George Lucas's vision that they don't like anymore. And so it is very, I think, limiting to the creative team to be forced into an already existing era. One of the reasons you guys probably love Legends, one of the reasons that I really like High Republic, is there is some freedom there to explore. You're not as limited by what comes before and what comes after. So that to me is the only problem is, however good the story is, you don't want them to go and change fundamental pieces about the character. Right. So,
yeah. And, to be fair, the Legends, especially early Legends, like the Han Solo enjoyed the original trilogy by Brian Daley, which was released in the late 70s, right, early 80s, is that he was playing around in a completely different landscape where there wasn't any content. And he was at liberty to create whatever he wanted. Now it's almost unfair to criticize the authors because they all have to work together within the tapestry to create one wholesome story. So I know there is a lot of criticism, believe it or not. Even the amazing new Timothy Zahn stories, some of them are calling it, like the RKO Outpost channel was calling him Disneytron, because he said he felt that the story was so shrunk down and limited. Well, obviously, the original Throne trilogy is completely different from this new one. Same when it comes to this comic book. I think fans should be just a little bit more lenient and appreciate the fact that there's a lot more story happening concurrently with this. Movies, shows, the Clone Wars show, right? Like, there's so much stuff going on.
Yeah, and even on top of that, a lot of these, sure, like I know there were Han Solo and Chewbacca comics from way back then. Maybe they aren't for the current Star Wars fan, but this version of it will be. So, it's like, sure, they may be the same stories, but they're going to appease two different audiences.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. And why don't we take a look at the upcoming release calendar? Speaking of books, I think it's a good segue here. So we had some new High Republic launch today in the comic realm, and because they launched today, I think they fell off the release schedule already. But I'm pretty sure we had issue 12, and we might have had the annual launch today. I will confirm. But outside of the High Republic, is there anything you guys are looking forward to launching in 2022? Like, what's top of your list, or is it the High Republic?
I got a lot. For me, Queen's Hope. That's the first one that I'm ready for. I was so disappointed when that got pushed back, but I'm very, very excited for that.
Nice. That's actually, I'm looking through my order list on Amazon. Just give me a second here, guys. There's a couple of volumes of Marvel reprints of Dark Horse era books. Those huge fat volumes.
the
They're
omnibus
completely.
things.
It's just brilliant. It's I don't have too much space on my shelf to collect comic books, and the only reason I collect comic books now is when they come in hardcover, so it's easy to protect. So if it's like even soft cover volumes, I don't even buy those. I highly anticipate those huge ones, and they're doing complete justice to like Legends era of comic books, treating them with complete love. They completely like digitize them. So the artwork maintains that quality of hand-painted comic book panels, but it's so cleaned up, it looks crispy as hell.
Yeah.
And then you put in these thick, amazing volumes with hardcovers. I can't wait for that.
We have more coming. To your point, they are down here, I think, in the omnibus section. There's more on the way.
Ooh, Legacy 2.
There we go. Legacy 2. Yeah, that one. Hold on a second. I'm looking at my list. What did I order?
And while you're doing that, I do want to call out for the fans. I know a number of fans do not like getting individual single issue comics.
Yeah.
So the first volumes, like the collections of comics for the High Republic, did launch recently. So you can go ahead and get like the like full kind of chunky stories for both volume 1 and volume 2, which wrap up a bunch of the comic issues together so you can read through them. So heads up for all the folks who are finally waiting for that. Those are live now.
So the volumes that are coming out on February 8th, we're getting Star Wars Legends Rise of the Sith Omnibus, which is basically the dark time era of the Clone Wars, right? Where post the Clone Wars, actually, when the Revenge of the Sith happens, and then the Jedi have to like fight off surviving the Vader's pursuit. And the other one is dropping on May 3rd, and it's Star Wars Legends Empire Omnibus 1, which just fantastic, phenomenal book.
I see this Tales of the Jedi volume 2 as well on the.
Wait, there's Tales. Oh my God, hold on. I got to check this. This is my favorite comic book of all time. The Tales of the Jedi, the Golden Age of the Sith. This is just brilliant. This is Dave Dorman's artwork. I mean, when you want the cream of the crop Star Wars comic books, you go to these artists and writers. This is, this as good as it gets.
Hey,
Legends.
Well, be on the lookout. Legends Epic Collection, Tales of the Jedi.
I think there's also there's going to be another book coming out toward it might be the end of the year, but I really think it's worth getting. It's at the bottom of this list here. They just released the cover art for it today, right there.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I thought it was at the bottom, but it wasn't. No, scroll down one more for me, please. There we go. Stories of Jedi and Sith, because it's cool. various authors.
A collection of short stories.
A collection of short stories for Jedi and Sith, for middle grade stuff, and I think it's just going to be really cool because it's kind of like from a certain point of view book, but for young readers.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, very cool. More on the way. And look, guys, as we go back to the face cams here, we're going to have announcements on January 4th for more High Republic for next year. I will be very, very curious what the cadence is going to be of those novels. Are they going to keep the kind of waved format with like 3 books, comics in between 3 books, comics in between 3 books, or are they going to spice it up? I don't know. I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing, but we'll see. What sort of schedule going forward, I think will indicate their level of confidence in the fans staying involved, purchasing the comics. If they are selling, if they're performing well, I think we'll continue to get that support. So, that's my expectations. Again, though, this was kind of the calm before the storm for me. It's kind of a slower week in news. We're getting close for Christmas in this, around the world. The next week is going to be a very slow holiday period. And then December 29th hits and we are back into a barrage. And I'm going to also bet May the 4th is going to bring some surprises as well, like it did last year, right? I could see a Bad Batch season 2 coming out. I could see some sort of special coming. I
need an Andor and a Kenobi trailer. Just please.
Oh, man. Golly. It is, guys, a year from now. We'll be sitting here a year from now talking, and it will be, Kenobi is about to come out, or it just came out a couple weeks ago. That's where we are. We're within the year of seeing that show. To be sitting here today, decked out in Boba Fett gear, preparing to watch a Boba Fett show in a week. And in that, same 12-month span, we're also going to get a show with Ewan McGregor playing Obi-Wan Kenobi. What kind of timeline is this? How crazy is that?
The best timeline.
That's right.
I'm sorry, I got the best timeline to this guy right here.
The Star Wars timeline. That's what it is. Let's get it.
On the Kenobi show, I got to say this is one exception to the rule where I do have ridiculous expectations from that show. I think it's the most important battlefield. If it's really the situation, this the fans versus Disney, there's no better olive branch or win fans over that completely nail it. It needs to be immaculate. I mean, and I'm talking about it as a harsh, prequel critic. I'm so in love with the fact that Ewan McGregor is there, that Hayden Christensen is coming back. It needs to be immaculate. I mean, they need to completely revere, honor it, map it up, so people don't have a single word to say and say, like, you know what? All right, we believe in Disney now. Like, something really momentous is happening here. It's not the Bad Batch, like something that newer fans could appreciate. It's not something that, like, the High Republic book readers. It encompasses all of Star Wars, all branches, all avenues, all fandoms. Like, if you call yourself a Star Wars fan, you are going to see the Kenobi show.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, guys, as we approach the end of the news cycle this week, let's take a second to go round table again. We started with everyone give us an intro. Is there anything we missed this week? Any great topics or anything that that is on your mind you wanted to call out? Let's go back down to the bottom of the upside down pyramid. Down to timeline.
I think we will dedicate more time to it, but I was just surprised to see how most of the Quantic Dream fans were focused on their adventure titles. The Heavy Rain, the Lost to Souls, the
Detroit Become Human, Heavy
right.
Rain. Yeah.
But the very first game that I wanted to mention was Omicron: The Nomad Soul, which came out on Sega Dreamcast, which was actually first foray into the open world sandbox adventure, predating, I believe, even Grand Theft Auto 3 on PlayStation 2. And it was like you took a taxi, you went around. Anyway, we'll spend more time with it. But I think there's also a possibility, a potential of this Eclipse video game being not exactly what fans are expecting of their late library of games. So it'll be an interesting topic to dive into.
And that game came out, I'm trying to pull up some details now, back in 1999?
1999, 2000 on Dreamcast, yeah.
Wow. It's on Steam.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
cool.
a phenomenal game. It was so ahead of its time, man.
It's on Steam.
It's understandable why not many people know it. Obviously, 2 decades have passed, but it was something exceptional.
Well, and it goes back to our first point about the controversy with Quantic Dream. Its studio been around for apparently over 20 years. So, hopefully the leadership, whoever's in charge soonest will be good, will be wise and kind, and not what we've seen in the past. I've read in some of my research that this is a new division of Quantic Dream. They're standing up to support this game. So maybe it's got entirely unique leadership. I don't know. I think we all just hope for the best in that situation, for everyone involved, obviously, who's in those work environments, etc. We hope that they're getting the kind of support that they need from their employer, and that the issues or employees they have that are causing problems will be removed from those positions. And we'll see. We will continue to monitor it. A lot of time for this story to develop, for us to learn more. We'll see if Lucasfilm puts out a statement and what sort of things.
That's all I want.
I'd be curious.
I'd be
curious
if it's true or if it's not true. Please come out and say something. Don't just ignore us.
If they did, I would be, and I'm a little surprised, and I don't want to spend too much time on here, before we know more, right? But the truth is, if they put out a statement saying like, hey, in regards to allegations, not only do we deny they happen, this is what we're doing to make sure this kind of stuff doesn't happen, and we will continue to only work with the best. I am surprised they haven't said anything. It's a little weird, but I guess the idea is if you don't pay any attention, it'll just go away, which honestly is typically the truth. Unfortunately, if you just don't acknowledge it, it kind of just disappears, because we are in a climate, a culture that is like, what's next? What's the next shiny thing? We're all guilty of it. We are guilty of it. I mean, we talked about Activision Blizzard early on, McCree and all that. And that's like barely a story anymore, 2 weeks later. Well, it's maybe a month later, but you get what I mean. It's barely a story at this point. Not that it won't be, because that company is doing very poorly right now. Decide, let's just, and I mean this jokingly, obviously their work culture at Blizzard was apparently terrible, but how did they botch Overwatch so poorly? I mean, they had such a great IP. We all love Overwatch. Where's Overwatch 2? They messed that whole thing up. I mean, what a disappointment there.
I mean,
Golly.
with everyone that walked out because of what
I
was going
know.
on, everything's just going to be pushed back. And I mean, like, hey, they were mistreated. It came out, they acknowledged it and fixed the problems. They got a lot to clean up now.
And you think, I mean, what a hit that was when it first launched too. I put a lot of hours in Overwatch.
Oh yeah, Overwatch was a huge thing.
It was crazy, just crazy. But it goes to show you, if you're a company that doesn't treat your employees right, doesn't do the right things, your success will be limited eventually, right?
Fans will react. Yeah.
Yep, it'll be limited eventually. We don't want to see it. We hope it changes. I hope good news comes out again. What is it right now? 2021. We will be talking about this in 2024 because that's when the game will eventually be coming out. The way the game industry moves these days, guys, it's slow as molasses, delays. And if it truly is a bad work environment, well, guess what? They're going to have high turnover, and they will pay for their treatment of employees by the fact that they can't get people in the studio to work for them. Those things tend to happen. Well, guys, we're going to wrap it up a little early this week because I might have to remove the comments for myself right now so people don't spoil it for me. I am about to go see Spider-Man in about an hour and a half. I am very excited. Believe it or not, even though I am a giant, Disney shill here, I traditionally am a bigger DC fan than Marvel fan, except for one exception. And you can see behind me the Daily Bugle. It is Spider-Man superiority when it comes to Marvel. But anyone who grew up when I did, or frankly, anyone now who likes modern superheroes has to look fondly on the Tobey Maguire years, has to look fondly on the groundbreaking Raimi films that we got there.
DC is better.
Yeah, it is. We all agree. That's right. Put down in chat.
I like great. DC a lot.
DC is great. And I hope you guys, I appreciate everyone coming out and spending Thursday nights with us, though. We're about to wrap up our first year on this channel. We've been doing this stream for probably about 6 months now, on and off. With the inclusion of Complete on here, the consistency we hope that'll bring into the new year. There's gonna be a lot of fun things to talk about. So we hope you stick around. We hope you guys have a great holiday over the next week or so, because we're not going to be back for the holiday. We're going to respect everyone's time there. But we'll talk offline on maybe the best way to do kind of a Book of Boba Fett prep, and we'll be sure to let you guys know on the channel. I'll post it and put it on Twitter as well. So until then, guys, go check out Star Wars Timeline, Star Wars Complete. Their channels are linked down below. The Facebook page for Timeline is down there as well. So check that out. Interact with the community. Great guys, great content, and we look forward to another year of the stream. So thanks, you guys, for stopping by. We'll be back again very soon. Have a great weekend.
All right, fellas, take care and get hyped for that Book of Boba Fett.
Oh, absolutely.
13 days. Let's get it. Let's get it. See you guys.